What about Wall Street? I know that you've certainly from a board perspective familiar there. You know, when we talk about the zeitgeist and people shifting to purpose, you're on the front lines. You see students at Harvard. What's the appetite for both working on Wall Street and the culture of Wall Street from where you sit?
Well, the culture of Wall Street's always been about making money. I would hope that the companies that do that soundly, like take a JP Morgan, or I served on the board of Goldman Sachs or
Yeah.
Morgan Stanley, are flourishing. They're doing well, and they're skeptical of things like crypto. They don't just jump in. What I worry about is now they're tightly regulated. Half our banking system is a shadow banking system. They're not regulated. That was the problem with Silicon Valley Bank and some of the others that got in trouble. But I think Wall Street is putting way too much pressure on companies to buy back stock. So an example of that would be Boeing.
Mm-hmm.
Boeing is the world's greatest aviation company. But about 15, 20 years ago, they said it's more important to buy back stock than it was to develop new airplanes. And they kind of stopped doing that. And they did it with the 777, which is brilliant. 787 had nothing but problems. And that got them into the crash of the 737 MAX. But a lot of that, the root cause of that was pressure from investors to buy back stock. So instead of investing in the companies and R&D and the long-term capital equipment and their people, they're buying back stock. They're using the cash. And
I think it was
that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I think last year was a record year, more than $1 trillion in buybacks in the S&P 500, which gets me to something that's always been a challenge when we talk about authentic leadership. One of the things that makes people most disaffected with CEO class, if that's the way to put it, is pay. And this is the time of year when we start to see the proxy statements, the pay come out. And I'm looking, a number of companies, the oil sector pay's gone up 52% over the previous year. How do you align that authentic leadership with what we've seen in terms of trends in CEO pay? Because you can understand the cynicism that can breed among the workers.
You've been following this a long time. You've been a pioneer in this. You go back 25 years is when it got kind of the cat got out of the bag and everyone started seeing how much money they could pay their CEOs and became a ratchet effect. Now, partly that was driven by the amount of money that was in private equity and in hedge funds and in some of these founders making so much money. So they're trying to pay them like founders. The amount of stock they're giving some people now that are very capable CEOs, but it's over the top. And yes, it's tied to performance, which is a good thing. But I do think it's gotten out of hand. And I think it just contributes to the income inequality you have in this country. I don't know how you can possibly pay a service worker, Diane, $7.25 an hour and expect them to live. I don't think anyone can live on this. And so what we've done is we've seen the income go up to the higher end of the company, and we've neglected the people actually doing the work. I mean, you think about who you see in a restaurant, a hotel, or an airline, or at Medtronic, who's determining the quality of the product? Not the quality department, it's the people on the front lines, the production people. That's what matters. And I think this is a giant societal problem. So it isn't just the amount of money that CEOs are taking out, it's the tonality and the impact on everyone else that's causing a split in our population. This has led to political splits. It's led to a lot of other things. So it worries me a lot. I'd like to see the income just spread much more broadly, bonuses, salaries, everything else much more broadly across every employee. And I think we've got to get back to that because, a nation's strength is based on the strength of their middle class. That's why German industry has done so much for its people. And I think that's really important. We can't hollow out our American middle class by pushing all the income to the top.